Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, here six. Miss Maricel is back. Okay, our next lesson is all about proportion. Later, we are going to compare ratio and proportion. So we have done ratio, which is the meaning of ratio is part to part. This time we are going to learn proportion and we are going to differentiate ratio and proportion, okay? Now, our learning objective is differentiate ratio and proportion, find the quantity of ratio and proportion, and solve word problems. Now, first, I'm going to discuss with you the difference between proportion and ratio. Proportion compares a part to the whole. This is like a fraction. If you know how to read fractions, then you know what is proportion. And of course, ratio compares part to part. So, let's have an example. You have learned already what is ratio, meaning 1:3 or 1 for every 3. How we are going to write, so this is the ratio. I hope you remember now. So it is the part to part. Now, so how we are going to write this as a ratio? Okay, the proportion here is, the first thing you're going to do, right? You're going to add, you will add the ratio, which is 1:3, 1 plus 3 equals 4. Okay, so that is now our denominator. So what is the ratio of 1 and what is the proportion of 1 from 1:3? So we will get this one, 1 out of 4, which is in fraction is 1/4. Now, what is the proportion of 3 from the ratio 1:3? So 3:4. So now if you can see the numerator, it is the parts, which is the ratio. And out of 4, okay, and the one whole, all parts, the one whole has been divided into 4, so 1:4 and 3/4, okay? So this means to say, if I will explain it to you, this is one whole piece. It was divided into 4 parts, okay? So we have one whole. How many parts as a whole? 1, 2, 3, 4. If I will shade one part, okay, one shaded part and 3 parts are not shaded. So that's why one shaded for every 3 parts that are not shaded. That is the ratio. Now, if we're going to talk about proportion, how many parts are shaded? It's 1/4. And how many parts are not shaded? 3/4. So if you add 1 plus 3 equals 4, so 4/4, now it is what? It is 1 whole. So that is a ratio and proportion. That is the difference between ratio and proportion. Okay. Let's try this one. No. Write its ratio in simplest form. So what is the ratio now? 21:14. What can we divide in 21 that can be divided into 14? Yes, it is 7. So we will divide both by 7. So 21 divided by 7 is 3. That is the first part. And 14 divided by 7, that is 2 parts. That means to say, in every 3 girls, there are 2 boys. So this is the girls and this is the boys. Okay. So what is the proportion of children are boys? So this is the boys. Okay. And this is the girls. So it's very easy. The first thing you do is you will add 3 plus 2 equals 5. So this is 1 whole. There are 5 children. Okay. Anyway, if we add this one, it will give us 35. So if you will divide 35 by 7, it will give us 5, correct? So now, what is the proportion of children are boys? So it will be 2/5. This is the boys. So 2 out of 5. What do you think is the proportion? So these are the boys. Proportion of girls. To complete out of 5, we have already 2. We use already the 2. What is remaining? 3. So the proportion of girls is 3 out of 5. So these are the ratio. 3:2 out of 5 proportion. Okay? Is that easy? Okay, let's move to the next example. Okay, let's use this one, which we have used also in the previous lesson. Okay, before I just asked you to complete the equivalent ratio of 5 new songs to old songs, correct? That was only the one I asked you before. So 5 new songs and 2 old songs, which is if there are 15 new songs, there are 6 old songs. Why? Because both will be multiplied by 3. So we multiplied by 5 by 3 to give us 15 songs. And we multiply also the same number, 2 times 3, it will give us 6. But there is an additional question here. How many songs did she play altogether? So since we have already the equivalent fraction here, so 15 plus 6 is 21. Now, I have an additional question. What is the proportion of new songs if a ratio is 5:2? Very good. We have the proportion of new songs is, we can just add 2. 5 plus 2 is 7. So if I want the proportion of new songs, okay, so don't forget the first step is you're going to add the ratio, which is 5:2. Just add them so that you will have the proportion. So there are 5 new songs, so 5. So let's say, this is 2, sorry. 7. So the proportion of new song is 5 out of 7. How about the proportion of old songs? Since we use already 5, then we need that 2. So the proportion of new old songs is 2 out of 7. So we have done the 5 songs, new songs, and then 2. So 2 out of 7. That's it. So this is how to make ratio, to write ratio as proportion. The ratio is very important, okay? So if, for example, I will ask you another question. If the ratio is 1:7, what is the write the ratio as a proportion? By part to part, in its part to part, in its part, I mean. So what is the ratio? We know that this is 1 plus 7 is 8. So 1, the proportion of 1 is 1/8. And the proportion of 7 is 7/8. So this is the proportion and this is the ratio. All right? Now, I will just use this board. Okay? So for example, I have 2:3 to 1. So this is the given ratio. What is the ratio? What is the proportion of 2, proportion of 3, and proportion of 1 from this ratio? What do? We just simply add first all the parts of the ratio, which is 6. Then we are going to write it as proportion. So 2 out of 6, 3 out of 6, and 1 out of 6. So if we add this all, it will give us 6 out of 6 or 1 whole. All right. Another example, if I have 5:7:3, so this is the ratio. What will be the proportion of each part? So just add this one, 5 plus 7 plus 3 is equal to 15. Therefore, 5:15, and 5 out of 15, 7 out of 15, and 3 out of 15. This is the ratio. And this is the proportion. Okay, this is the proportion. I will just write here because this is the proportion. All right. So simple as that for the ratio. Now let's calculate for some. So we are done already with our first objective. We differentiate and apply and compare ratio and proportion. Finding the ratio, finding the proportion from the given ratio, and also we solve word problem. Then let's try to do this. Let's find the amount of its given proportion. Okay. Jade buys 2 dark chocolate and 3 milk chocolate. She buys 45 chocolates altogether. Okay, so the ratio is 2:3. Okay, and remember, there are 45 chocolates altogether. What proportion of the chocolate are dark chocolate? It is very easy. 2 plus 3 is 5. So dark chocolate is 2. So 2/5 of the chocolates are dark. How many milk chocolates she buys? So we did not do this one. So we have 3/5. So how many milk chocolates she buys? First thing, you're going to get the proportion of the milk. So the proportion of milk chocolate is 3/5. Then you are going to write 3/5 of 45. So 3/5 times 45. 45 divided by 9. So then 9 times 3 is 27. So therefore, there are 27 milk chocolate. How about if I will ask you, how many dark chocolate? We know already if how many dark chocolate out of 45, which is 27. Now, how about if I want to find dark chocolate? How many dark chocolate? Okay, so milk chocolate is 27 out of 45. So you will do 45 minus 27 equals, so we have 18 dark chocolates. There you go. So there's no need to do again, but if you want to solve, you can. So let's try. How to calculate for the dark chocolate? You can just take the proportion. So 2/5 times 45. Okay, so you will just do 45 divided by 5 is 9. Then 9 times 2 is 18. So our answer is correct. Okay, simple. Now, that is how to find the proportion, quantity of proportion, and how to write it as a proportion. But this time, this is a direct proportion. We are going to find the equivalent of, so we have, meaning we are going to find the equivalent ratio here. So we don't have 1, but we have this. That means to say 3:12. So what can we do? So we will divide both by 3. So that's why we have 1:4. Therefore, the ratio of 1 kilogram is $4. Yes? So, so we have 1:4 because we need to divide the given divided by 3 equals 4. So this will be, so 2 times 4 is 8, 3 times 4 is 12, 4 times 4 is 16, and 5 times 4 is 20. So make sure that you're going to find the equivalent of 1 unit. Now, if you notice here, we don't have 1 unit, so we are going to look for 1 is to what? We don't have here, it's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So therefore, we are going to divide the given ratio here so that we can find the equivalent of 1. So 29.40 divided by 10. So do you remember how to divide by 10 again? We will move the decimal once. So therefore, the equivalent of 1 kilogram is $2.94. So now if you double this one, so 2 times 2.94 is, it will give us 5.88. 5 times 2.9 is, so we are multiplying all these numbers by 2.94 because this is the ratio of 1 kilogram is to $2.94. So I want you to complete this one. So it will be very easy already. So this will be 6, 7, 11. Okay. And this one, just multiply this by 6. Okay. So it will be 17.64. And then this one will be, you just double it. So 12, 15, so that will be 3. And oops, did I do it correctly? Yeah, it's correct. It is 2. Okay, there you go. Now here, question 3, read it, 4.25 per hour. That means to say 1 hour. So 1, 4.25 is to 1. So $4.25 is to 1 hour. So how about if it's 3 hours? So we are going to multiply by 4.25. Can you answer, please? Okay, because we have already for 1 hour and we have 3 hours. So this is also 6 hours times $4.25. And this is 1.5 times $4.25. Okay, so 3 times 425. When you're writing, you have to write 2.75 because 3 times 4 is 12, 3 times 75, 3 times 25 is 75, and this is 24 times 6. Sorry. Forgot my carry. So this is dollars. So 25.50 cents. Okay. And this one, 1.5. So it will be Okay. So this is in your page 125. Understood? So how do we find for 1 unit? You have to base it to the given ratio, like here, divide. Because we are multiplying, so the opposite is division. Don't forget. Let's move to the next page. Okay, now. So would you mind to do this first? How to find the proportion of the shaded parts. Remember, when we are writing in ratio, we are going to, we are only comparing part to part, and then the proportion is part to whole. Okay. I'll pause my video and try to read what do they need? What proportion of its pattern is shaded? So the shaded, what's the fraction of the shaded parts? Okay. So you can pause your video and then answer. All right. So let's count how many first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Therefore, this is out of 12. By how many shaded? 2, 4, 6, 8. So this is the proportion, and you can write in simplest form. So what can we divide? We can divide it by 4. So this will be 2 and third. So 2/3. How about this? 1, 2, 3. So it is 3 out of 12, the shaded parts. And we can divide by 3. So therefore, the simplest form, the proportion of the simplest form, the proportion of the shaded part is 1/4. Okay? Next. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this will be 9 out of 12. Simplest form, it will be divided by 3. So it will give us 3/4. Now, I want to ask you, if the shaded part, the proportion of the shaded part is 2/3, what will be the unshaded part? To make 3, so that will be to complete the 3. So the unshaded part is 1/3. The unshaded part is 3/4. The unshaded part is 1/4. Why I know it? Because 2 plus 1 is 3. 1 plus 3 is 4. 3 plus 1 is 4. Okay? Now, what do you think is the ratio here? So just look at the upper part. So 2 is to 1. 1 is to 3. 3 is to 1. Okay? Easy. Now, question 2. A box contains 20 cubes. So this is the whole altogether. In the 13 cubes, there are red. How many green? Very good. So let's just subtract 20 minus 13. It will give us 7. Therefore, the proportion of green is 7 out of 20. Simple. Now here, in 1 hour, we have 60. But the given is only 15. So meaning 60 divided by 15, we have 4. Okay, so 4. So then how much for 1 hour now? So we are going to multiply 4 times 4.50 equals 18 dinars. $18. Simple. So this is the comparison of ratio and proportion. Okay, so ratio is part to part, proportion is part to whole. There will always be one whole or all together, so that you know what will be the missing part. So I hope you understood the lesson for today, and you can watch the video and again so that you will understand what is the difference between ratio and proportion. So that's all for now, year 6. I hope you understand the lesson. Watch it again. If you have any question, just ask Miss Maricel. So bye for now, year 6. Thank you for listening and watching. Bye.